But let's move on tonight. Let's move on to a topic that's awesome, I think, and that has been, we've been waiting to talk about this for months now, about a potential trading partner for the Houston Texans for Deshaun Watson. And rumor has it that the Philadelphia Eagles might be that team.
Yeah, this is very interesting. And folks, before I give you my opinion about this situation, Brendan just mentioned subscribing to this channel, which is a huge thing for us. So please help us out. You like what you see, give us a subscribe. But also, again, at the bottom of your screen, there's a call-in number right there. You can call into the show right now. You can call in live, give your opinion about anything we're talking about, college football. You know, we're doing a big football segment right now. We talk a lot about F1. We talk a lot about baseball and some of these international players like Shohei Ohtani. We talked about Luka Doncic in the NBA. A lot going on here, folks. So make sure you call in if you've got something to say here on Comeback Sports. But going back to this topic about Deshaun Watson probably being possibly being a trade target of the Philadelphia Eagles, I think this makes sense for both sides because I don't think Philly wants to go in full rebuild mode right now because it's going to take them a while to get back up to the top. So, you know, you think about the Eagles, they just lost Carson Wentz, which, you know, that he had a tough time there at the end. Now having a tough time with the Colts because he just got hurt. But They don't, you know, Jalen Hurts seems like he's a solid quarterback. It doesn't sound like they're totally dead set on him being the quarterback of the future in Philly, right? So then you trade Hurts and a boatload of picks to Houston. Houston then absorbs Hurts. Maybe they have something in him. But then also for Houston, you know, this is an enticing trade because even if you have Deshaun Watson, depending on what kind of moves they make, you know, next offseason, you know, Philly's not going to be good this upcoming season. They play in a tough division now. The Cowboys are going to be better this year. The Washington football team, who made the playoffs last year, is now a young, tough, defensive-minded football team who's now got a very competent quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, so they are not in an easy division anymore, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs this upcoming season. Houston's going to be getting much better draft picks in compensation if they trade for Deshaun Watson. Meanwhile, if, you know, we talked about earlier how, you know, Miami might be a team that would want to trade for Deshaun Watson. You know, maybe another contender like the Broncos or somebody like that would want to trade for Deshaun Watson. But now that you have Philly trading for Watson, if that's the case, you're going to get better draft picks back because even though Watson is so good, you know, he gets to Philly, they don't have a lot around him. You know, Zach Ertz is still there, but he's getting up there in age. Their wide receiver core is not good. You know, they have a couple of decent running backs. Miles Sanders is a good player. Their defense is solid. It's not elite. So, and again, they play in a tough division. So I think if you're Houston, this might be the best trade package you can get for Deshaun Watson, especially with everything going on with him now. Teams know that Houston is losing leverage when it comes to trading Deshaun Watson. So this might be the best trade offer if you're Houston that you might want to accept. Nick Caserio's got a big decision on his hands if this is in fact a trade offer from Philly.
Man, you bring up a great point, how basically every day and every hour and every moment that ticks by, Houston's losing leverage, right? And they're losing compensation and value in return for arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks on the market right now and playing the game right now. And he's got at least another 10 years of being great, maybe even 15, the way that some of these quarterbacks are playing right now, going into 35 and even 40. Even Ben Roethlisberger said this week that he feels like he can play another 3 or 4 years. He just said he's not going to eat any avocado ice cream like Tom Brady, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, it just proves how long these quarterbacks can play at a high level in the NFL. Deshaun Watson is one of the younger quarterbacks. He's basically, when you're thinking of young superstar quarterbacks, there's 2 guys that come up, okay? Maybe 3 guys. I'm sorry. There's 3 guys that come up. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. I think they're the 3 young guns of the NFL right now for quarterbacks. So this is one of those things where I think you're right. Is this the best value that they can get in return? And I had a question for you back in return, but you already answered it. My thing was going to be, would Hurts have to be part of the package? You clearly said Hurts has to be part of the package. And I think that would make sense for both teams. Houston Texans could get a young quarterback back, one that could play right away and that they could try to develop and see if he's going to be the next guy for them. And, you know, the Eagles get their guy that they want to try to compete now to win now. But I guess the real question is, does Deshaun Watson want to play for the Philadelphia Eagles? Because we all have to remember he has a no trade clause attached to his contract. So in the end, he is going to decide what team he plays for or whether or not he's going to sit out. I will say the Houston Texans have said he is not going to play this preseason, and he won't be playing at all in the first game. And I think that's a way of saying, hey, we still haven't really decided what we can do with Deshaun. We're trying to trade him. There's just no movement right now, but he's not going to take the field for us. And so I guess that's the real question. And I think you brought up the other team that I think is more of a viable target. If I'm Deshaun Watson and I have control over the teams I want to go to, I think I'm saying I want to be shipped to the Denver Broncos, a team that is a little bit younger, has some young superstars, has a few great wide receivers there. They just drafted Jerry Jeudy. I think that would be a great combination of Deshaun Watson and Jerry Jeudy for the next 5 or 6 years, or even more there in Denver. So if I'm Deshaun Watson, I think I'm saying, I'm not going to go to Philly. And especially, hey, Philly fans, do not be going crazy on me, but you guys are psychos. And you guys, I mean, nonstop. And I love the passion. You know, I love it. But you don't cut anybody a break. If I was a professional quarterback, I would be like, nah, I don't want to play in. I don't want to play in that city. I'd rather play in Denver, you know, and go to Colorado and enjoy the beautiful Midwest there and play with Jerry Jeudy. But I think, you know, it's really the question of, is Deshaun Watson going to be willing to go to the Philadelphia Eagles? And if I'm Deshaun Watson, I've got to say no.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point, too. I mean, you know, you're absolutely right. I'm sure Watson would much rather want to go to Denver than Philly. You know, first of all, he's going to be throwing to, like you said, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, 3 young wide receiver, tight end combination that is very athletic. All 3 of those guys have speed. Jerry Jeudy's a great route runner. Sutton is that burner down the side, and Noah Fant's just a very talented pass-catching tight end. So Watson could do a lot with those 3 guys, very different than what he's had in Houston over the last season or 2, especially once DeAndre Hopkins left. So that's going to be very interesting, and we'll see if, you know, Philly is a trade partner. Watson might be at the point now, too, where he's like, I just got to move on. I got to go somewhere else. All this stuff has just happened. I haven't gotten along with the front office in the past. I know there's a new front office there now and a new head coach, but I just need to change the scenery. So if the only way to do that is to go to Philly, he might just say yes. You know, it depends on, you know, as we mentioned, he's losing leverage. So we'll see if he makes a decision on that and drops the no trade clause if Philly is in fact the team that gives the best offer to the Texans. Folks, if you like this show, you're watching it right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. That's Comeback Sports on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Comeback Sports. And then all the cut-ups that our awesome producer, Ben Kudo, puts together after the show, that'll all filter to your YouTube channel. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there in your subscriptions.